Good evening, social media friends and family. This is Author Chauncey Taylor. As an author, it's a pleasure to present you all with information that can be used to pretty much describe who I am as a person and or as an author. However, there's no argument that anyone could use to dispute the fact of how far you can go with the right information as well. And you can go extremely far with the right information. It all depends on how well you receive, digest, and meditate on that information that you've been given and or received from whatever source you choose to gather your information from. Whether it's a Bible, a preacher, Quran, television, a book, a movie. I'm here to declare that there is a better way that you can receive information, the way you can interpret information, the way that you can digest or break down that information that you was able to receive. I want to read something to you all, and I'm coming from the Word of God. First of all, I want to give you a brief illustration of how the element of a man is presented into other forms of humanity. John came in the form of a man that lived in the wilderness, right? And he came eating wild locusts and honey. Jesus, on the other hand, which was 6 months apart from John, he came eating wild locusts and honey as well. But they say the Son of Man had no place to lay his head. But it was a scenario that went like this: birds have nests, foxes have holes, but the Son of Man had no place to lay his head, right? Royalty, in a sense, will come to you in a form of degradation, a lowly estate, a man of humility and hospitality. It's not good to brag or boast about your capabilities or your functionality in reference to how well you navigate resources that you may have, in reference to pulling strings to find out certain things that you want to know about a certain something or a certain someone. You know why? Because none of us are perfect. And all of us at some point in time have had a past. And at some point in time before that, we were innocent until proven guilty. We haven't been judged yet, but we have been chastised for the things that we've chosen to be a part of, to some extent. Some of us have come back from those huge deficits of loss, and some of us have gotten caught up or maybe even lost along the way. The book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 23 says that, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." But I'll read 3 verses ahead of that verse, and I'll give you an instance of what led to the Bible even emphasizing the fact that we all are sinners. See, when you're an infant, you're born into what's called a sinful world. So you were born into sin, and you were conceived in iniquity, meaning that eventually the sinful nature that you possess, you'll soon find out about it and its capabilities. So what I've discovered is this: in verse 19, chapter 3 of Romans, "Now we know that whatever the law says, we know." He didn't say we might know, we might assume. Now we know. See, there's certain things that we know. Once you become of age and you've gained a certain amount of knowledge, you become to know things. Now we know that whatever the law says, and we know the law, common law, the laws of the land, and we also know God's law. Most of us do. It says to those who are under the law that every mouth may be stopped. Every mouth may be stopped. And all the world may become guilty before God, right? And I wanted to read verse 21, but it took me to 19. So with that being said, I want to let everybody know, the mouth that placed judgment on you, let it be stopped. Let it be stopped, right? God has a way of stopping you in your tracks when you talk all over yourself about someone else to someone else. And the topic of this conversation is the dysfunction of others. The dysfunction of others kind of like places a blindfold on the conscientious thought process of what it is that those individuals or those dysfunctional individuals may have about themselves that they recognize in other people but fail to address within them. A lot of people are dysfunctional in society and refuse to exercise a therapeutic form of rehabilitating themselves away from that common behavior, right? They could be categorized as phobias, stigmas, conditions. And treatment is available only if you access those resources by way of choice. When we choose something, there's a upside and a downside, right? Which is a consequence or repercussion. The consequences is something that you suffer dire to the choices that you make, predicated on the action that you take towards something you choose to indulge in, whether it's good or bad. But the repercussions of something, right? Repercussions, reaping what you sow. So the repercussions are the conditions that you suffer as a result of those initial choices that led you to get involved with those particular circumstances or those particular situations. Skepticism, curiosity, uncertainty. We all deal with those different symptoms of prejudicial prejudices amongst each other. And those are dysfunctions. Functioning in a dysfunctional world around people who are lacking proper rest, right? Refusing to seek proper treatment, clinical treatment, using the formality of therapeutic means of rehabilitative effort to reprogram unlearned behavior. The nature of nurturing, right? Or we could say nature versus nurture, because in some cases, nature is something that is a process that's ongoing, and you cannot prevent that process from happening. Life be lifing. But nurturing something is actually like cultivating your lawn, giving your grass or your yard a pedicure, cleaning your house. You're nurturing your home. You nurture children. You nurture your pet. But they call it neutering, right? Spade and neuter, right? Okay, so nurturing the essence of a person comes with a sense of patience. Because when you're dealing with humanity, humanity has a tendency to be complex or complicated to deal with. It isn't because they're too difficult to understand. It's the fact that they're putting up a defense mechanism that's allowing you to relinquish the effort of trying to reshape the process of how they were molded. Some people are stuck in their ways, and it's hard to kick against the pricks. A midlife crisis, identity crisis. Dysfunction is something that people suffer from all throughout the course of their life. And it all results from one thing. Something had to happen during the course of that individual's childhood or throughout that person's life, maybe in adulthood. It was offensive to that person. And from that moment on, that person was defensive the whole time and refused to allow that certain thing to happen to him or her ever again in life. It may have been painful. It may have been embarrassing. It may have been conscientiously convicting, sabotaging. But I'm here to tell you, treatment is available. No one is perfect. And if you want help, you have to admit the fact that you have a problem. Being the author of 6 books doesn't make me the most prominent thinker in the world or the most fluent person with information. It just makes me an individual that has multiple means of delivering a conversation to a certain group of people that may be able to identify with the same struggles that I may have encountered throughout the course of my life. Dysfunction. Dysfunction is the opposite of function, right? We know that when you're functioning, everything is going fine. But when you're dysfunctional, right, that means something happened. If you have a machine that's functioning properly now and that machine glitches and stop printing or stop pressing or stop working, for that sense, something must have happened on the inside of that machine. So let me have a look. This is what you call an assessment. You go through the procedural methods of assessing or diagnosing that particular machine to see what is causing the machine to have this dysfunction. After having conducted an analysis or diagnosis, it's time for you to construct a plan to diagnose behavior, characteristics, traits, symptoms of cause and effect to that particular object. So life is a process, and it's all revolving around therapeutics. Therapeutics is like a massage applied to an area that may be very tense. It's almost like going to the gym and working out and you're real sore and you go to a masseuse. And when you hit that certain spot, you be like, oh man, yeah, right there, tense. So sometimes in life, that uncertainty needs to be massaged or worked out thoroughly through the process of a conversation that may be therapeutically soothing to the ears of the individual that may be skeptical. Think about that for a minute. And before you dislike me, get like me. My name is Arthur Chauncey Taylor. I hope you guys enjoy your day.